Hey guys, and welcome to another FM synthesis tutorial. In this one, I'm going to break down some of the key elements that make up Dream Piano. So rather than going through every single parameter and explaining why I chose the values that I chose, I'm just going to go through the things that make Dream Piano distinct. So the biggest question I get is, how do I come up with the values? And the answer is trial and error. So just like if I was working on a subtractive synth, I'd be turning knobs, and whatever sounds good, I'll just let go and leave it at that. So there's nothing special about the numbers I pick. I'm actually just adjusting everything with the data slider, and wherever it sounds good, I stop, I take note of the value, and I write it down. The only thing I adjust is when I go to film, and when I start to write down the recipe for the custom patch, I'll see if I can round the numbers up or down. So if I've got a value of like 53, I'll see if it sounds the same at 50 or at 55. And the reason why I do that is just to make the parameter values a little more digestible, a lot easier to look at on screen, and basically just to further aid the simplification process of creating patches on the DX7. The other thing is that I initialize, so that wipes out every parameter, resets everything, and the only values you're taking in are the ones that are relevant. So I've seen magazines with custom patches listed, and they've got the values for every single parameter on every single edit function that's here on this panel, and they don't need to. I mean, if you initialize, then it's all done for you. Half the job is done, if not more than that. So I don't know why people are expecting people to go through every single parameter to enter in every single value, whether or not it's relevant or not. It's just unnecessary and unfair. So likewise, when it comes to my custom patches, some things that I change don't need explaining. You know, if I change the output level of a carrier, it's really just a volume change. You know, it's not modulating anything. There's nothing to do with frequency. It's really just a balance. You know, if I've got 5 carriers, the output levels of each of them is just going to let me balance which one's are louder than others. So things like that I don't need to explain. But in Dream Piano, we've got 3 distinct things going on. Besides, you know, like your LFO and some gentle frequency tuning and all that sort of stuff, there are 3 things that I'm doing on purpose that are particular techniques that can be repeated in other patches. The first one is FM chorusing, the second one is interval tuning, and the third one is staggered envelope programming. So the first one is the FM chorusing. So I'm going to use an initialized voice to illustrate this. So let's use two carriers. So by default we're on algorithm 1, and the 2 carriers there are operator 1 and operator 3. So I'm going to put up both of their output levels to 99, and that is the sound of 2 operators playing perfectly in sync 2 sine waves. Now if I go to fine frequency for operator 3, which is our second carrier, and just add 1 increment, which is 0.01, the frequency starts beating. We get a chorus effect. And it gives us a beautiful spread, a nice lush movement to what was before a really wooden, stagnant, pure tone. So just doing this, just by changing 2 carriers by 1 increment, we get this effect. And this is repeatable across all of the frequency ranges. So long as they're at the same coarse value rate, so if it's 2 and 2, then you'll have one at 2.00, the other one at 2.02. So this can be repeated. And this is a really easy way of, I mean, I've done nothing. Literally, if I initialize this and put the volumes up for both operators, for both carriers, and change this 1 frequency parameter, this is 1 button push, you get a really rich sound. So that's the first one. That is a trick you can use on any patch with any 2 carrier combinations. So long as they share the same coarse frequency, you just change 1 by 1 increment on the fine frequency, and this will occur. The next one is interval tuning. So basically, you know, if we're at a coarse frequency of 1, then if I push the fine frequency range from the lowest to the highest, we cover 1 octave. If the coarse frequency was 2, then the fine frequency range then doubles. It becomes 2 octaves, and so on. So if the coarse frequency is 10, then the fine frequency range will go from 10 to 19.9, just under 20. So again, 10 octaves. This is how the frequency ratio works. And this is why when people use the frequency range, they're kind of confused on the numbers, because it always seems to be irregular. When I go to fine frequency and my coarse frequency is 1, the ranges are within 1 octave, but all of a sudden if I change the coarse frequency to 10, increments are changing in tens and the range has gone to 10 octaves. But this is how you need to think of it, and I'm not even sure if this is properly explained in the manuals, but this is what's happening. So what does that mean? Well, keeping that in mind, if our frequencies are 1 and I've got a fine frequency range of 1 octave, then that means that some of these numbers that are between 1.00 and 1.99 are probably going to hit some of these other notes that are within my octave. So technically that means that I can program each operator to occupy any one of these other notes. And so when I play 2 operators at the same time, or 3 operators, I can have multiple different frequencies and essentially just program chords and harmonies. So for example, if I have my first carrier at 1 and my second carrier at 1.5, I'm playing the root note, which is the actual key that I'm pressing. So in this case, I'll press C. I'll be playing a C note, and at 1.5 for the other carrier, I'll be playing a fifth above, which is equal to playing a G. So this tone, it has a C note and a G note. Even though I'm pressing the C key, I'm playing 2 different operators. One's playing a C, or is tuned to C, and the other one is tuned to G. And if I play it at different keys, obviously I'll be playing that key plus a fifth above. So if it's F, I'll be playing probably a C. So this is kind of how it works. And with interval tuning, you can program whole chords. So if I had a third carrier and I programmed it to play an E, then on one key I can play a major chord. So this is another programming technique that you can sort of employ. It works best if you have a coarse frequency of 1 for each of the operators that you're programming, because you'd want to have them quite tight. You'd want to have all those tones close together as if you were playing them. You don't play a C major across 7 octaves. You play it normally in 1 octave. So this is a really cool way of programming the other notes. Now, with the fine frequency, it doesn't have the right values to get the notes perfect. And so for some of these notes, if you're close, or if you're a bit sharp or a bit flat, you can actually adjust it with the detune function and just move it slightly to get it perfectly in pitch. So that's what I've done in Dream Piano, and we can hear that here. So you hear it goes dun dun dun. So basically I've got 2 notes playing the same note, and then, or 2 operators playing the same note, and the third operator is playing the 5th interval above, and I program that just how you saw me do it then. And finally are the staggered intervals. So basically I've taken each of those notes, each of those operators that are playing those notes, and I've just delayed when they play those notes, and this is how we get the staggered envelope. So the programming for that is quite straightforward as well. The trick is to set your level values to level 1, 0, level 2, 0, level 3, 99, level 4, 0. And basically what we've done there is we've dropped the attack level and the decay levels down to 0. And what that does is, normally on an attack level, would be reaching full volume on the attack, which is basically when we hit the key. But because we don't want the volume to come through until after we've pressed the key, then we need to delay that. Now, we cannot just change the rate of our attack because the rate has a slow incline. So if I have a volume of 99 for my attack level, and I change the rate of my attack, then it's going to slowly increase until it reaches full volume. It's not going to jump straight to full volume. So what we do is we have a rate of 99 for the attack reaching 0, a rate of 99 for the decay reaching 0, and that means that when we get to the sustain level, we'll have a rate of 99 reaching a volume of 99, and that's where it kicks in. So basically what we do at that point is it allows us to use the decay rate to control where we're shifting the start point. So I'll press the key over here, and over time I can select the decay time to kick in here, and boom, it'll jump straight up to the sustained volume at that sustained rate. So we can illustrate that now. So I'm just going to, let's go to operator 1 in Dream Piano. Level 1, 0, level 2, 0, level 3, 99, level 4, 0. Rate 1, 99. Rate 2 is the variable rate. This is how we shift the goalposts from left to right. Rate 3 is 99. Rate 4, it's got a slow rate on this one of 50, but that doesn't matter. So let's just go to rate 2 and push it to 99. This is a instant attack. Now I'm going to drop that down to 50. And it's slightly delayed. And drop it down to 40. And it's really delayed. So basically you copy the level value, well, you copy this whole envelope to any of your carriers, because your carriers control your output level, or basically control whatever's being modulated and allow that to be fed through the amplifier. And what you do is you go to the rate 2 for all of your carriers, and you just stagger them. So you put one at 50, one at 45, and one at 40, and they'll come in successively, consecutively, one after the other. And by adjusting that decay value, the rate 2 value, you can set the spacing between them either further apart or closer together. And that is the staggered envelope programming. Now with Dream Piano, I've got those three things working together, and I've got a really basic thing happening with operator 5 and 6, which is operator 6, of course, is a modulator, and I've set its attack level to be quite slow, so as it increases in volume, its modulation strength on operator 5 is being increased, and so it gets brighter and brighter as it goes up. And you can hear right at the end it starts to taper off, so it also has a really slow decay rate, and as that happens the LFO kicks in. So I've got an LFO delay, goes up, drops down, LFO kicks in, and that's controllable. The brightness is controllable with this mod wheel here. So I've also got the amplitude sensitivity of operator 6 being tapped into the modulation wheel, so I can choose how much of it is affecting operator 5. Now this LFO movement that's happening here, the brightness of operator 6, all of this is happening while we have the staggered envelopes, the frequency tuning, and the interval tuning on all of the other operators. So I've switched them all on. Oh, let me just... So it's not a simple patch. It's quite complex in terms of the number of elements that are occurring, but those are the small steps that I took and how I pieced them together to create the whole, which is Dream Piano. So I hope you guys learned something about these particular techniques and what went into making Dream Piano. If some of it isn't quite clear, if I didn't explain it very well, feel free to send me a message. Hopefully that introduces you to some of the finer points of this particular patch. Some of these techniques appear in other patches, so if you learn it here, it may have answered some questions for you with the other custom patches that I've got. But again, if not, send me a message. I'll try and break it down a bit better next time. Yeah, I hope that cleared up some of your questions. If you have any others, just let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.